Chris from Benzinga. We're here at VeeCon 2023, and I am joined by Andy Krainak, the President of Veefriends. Andy, it's great to have you here. I want to start and talk about what's worked for Veefriends in the past. So last year, of course, one of the big stories, we had the toy line, right, with Macy's and Toys R Us. Give us some insight into how big of a success that was in building out the Veefriends brand.
A huge success, you know, to be able to have Veefriends toys in stores at probably the most iconic toy store in America in just under 24 months of launching the IP is a really big headline for Veefriends community, the Veefriends holders, and of course I would say the public at large.
Awesome. And then as you work to scale and build Veefriends out, for this younger audience, what are some of the things that you have in the works that we should look forward to?
Yeah, it comes down to making content that's going to speak directly to kids, and that's going to be making content for where kids are hanging out. That's YouTube Kids primarily, but it's also TikTok and other social media channels. Picking a cast of characters that we feel will be best equipped to speak to the youth, and just daily episodes of animated content with Veefriends characters.
Tell us about some of the new merch that we have to look forward to here at VeeCon 2023. I know we have pins. My kids are excited. They want me to bring some pins home. Tell us about that new thing and other merch that we can expect.
You mentioned it. I'm personally very, very excited about pins. Shout out Adam Rips, who oversees our collectibles at Veefriends. He has been spending a lot of time digging into the lore of pins, the collectability of pins, whether it's through Disney, Marvel, or other really well-known IP. Veefriends now has its own pins. There's mystery blind bags where you can buy a box of 2 pins. You're not sure which one you're going to get. And then we have a line of VeeCon specific t-shirts and of course Veefriends hoodies and other Veefriends gear that we've had from our winter apparel drop.
Awesome. So as we look forward to Veefriends being built up, this huge IP, we just heard some comments from Gary on kind of building alongside the younger audience, getting it in front of the older generation and adults. What are some of the ways you look forward to building Veefriends outside of that younger audience?
Yeah, I mean, I would say right now we've done a great job so far communicating to adults, through Web3 and NFTs, and it's a challenge. And I was thinking about when we first launched Veefriends, Gary described Veefriends as an ambitious NFT project. And when we have 283 characters, we're throwing a super conference. We have a tremendous amount of work and development to do, but there are going to be characters that can speak directly to 50-year-olds, as he was referencing with Patient Panda, Ambitious Angel. And it really comes down to the character, their origin story, their purpose, and how we want to utilize that against the different audiences we want to reach.
What are you most excited about at VeeCon 2023? Who are some of the speakers you're looking forward to hearing from and that others should look forward to maybe hearing from that they're not aware of yet?
Yeah, speaker-wise, Jessie stole the show last year. He made grown men cry, touching their hearts and minds. He's opening right after right after Gary, main stage on Friday. I think he's going to be awesome. Aside from that, I'm looking forward to seeing who takes the cake for the speaker that people were unexpecting to really be impacted by. Eric Thomas, the hip-hop preacher I grew up watching. I'm going to be extremely motivated watching him. And then aside from that, there's just so many experts in different landscapes of business that I think are really going to bring value. And my favorite thing that people have been asking me what I'm most looking forward to VeeCon, and it sounds cliche to say, but it's really interacting with everyone. We're in Discord, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, interacting in comments, but to be able to have a personal connection with the people that I've been interacting with over the last 2 years means everything to me.
This year at VeeCon, we have the field day, a lot of outdoor activities, that interaction with the community like you mentioned. What are you excited about today, this field day, and interacting with the community and Veefriends holders? Yeah,
2 things. First, we, for the first time ever, have a community stage where we've actually hand-selected people who applied, who are Veefriends holders, to share their insights and learnings in their personal lives and professional lives. So I'm so excited to be able to give that opportunity to them. And then I'm just so thrilled and pumped to see the hip-hop icon Busta Rhymes perform at 8 p.m. I think he's going to tear the roof off the TCU amphitheater, and I think the Veefriends are really going to enjoy seeing him perform.
So Andy, there's over 200 Veefriends characters. I know this is probably a difficult question, but if you had to narrow it down and you had to pick one Veefriend that's your favorite, who is it and why?
Forever Phoenix. Forever Phoenix was the first VeeFriend NFT that Gary gifted me after we successfully launched and sold out VeeFriends. And aside from that, I know why he drew Forever Phoenix. He has this saying that he would have a fantasy of everything burning to the ground, his businesses failing, and then rising like a phoenix, just to remind everybody that he's such a capable operator. And he picked that one for me for a reason, and it just motivates me to think about playing a forever game, and no matter the obstacles or hurdles, I can stay in business forever.
What are you most excited about for VeeFriends after VeeCon? What do we have to look forward to the rest of 2023?
I have one singular focus, and that is to make the world fall in love with our characters. Whether it's a 5-year-old or a 50-year-old, I cannot wait to see the impact that we can have on people's personal and professional lives through character storytelling. And we have a long way to go, but I just cannot wait until we launch our YouTube Kids and we have our animated content across all our social channels.
Awesome. Well, once again, Chris from Benzinga here at VeeCon 2023, joined by Andy Krainak, the president of VeeFriends. Andy, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Chris.
From Benzinga. We are here at VeeCon 2023. I am joined by Avery Akkineni, the president of Vayner 3. Avery, we're so excited. VeeCon 2023. I want to talk a little bit about the role that Vayner plays in onboarding new users to Web3. Can you tell me a little bit about the role that Vayner 3 provides for users and companies getting into the space?
For sure. I would say absolutely for companies. Vayner 3 is an enterprise consultancy focused on helping brands navigate the next era of the internet. So almost all of our partners are Fortune 500 companies who have established brands, like they already exist, they have marketing teams, all that fun stuff. Once in a while we'll get a special project, a Gary special as we call them, but the vast majority of our partners sort of fall in that Fortune 500 bucket. And we help them understand and embrace the next era of the internet across multiple disciplines. We've helped, big, massive companies, whether that's Anheuser-Busch or PepsiCo or Diageo, navigate this new space, and also done a lot of fun activations with smaller brands or brands who are kind of dabbling in. But it's our role to really help them understand what's happening here, separate the signal from the noise, and craft meaningful strategies to ultimately grow their businesses. And of course, how this results for end consumers is now consumers can actually interact with some of their favorite brands on the blockchain through partnerships and projects that they ultimately go to launch.
What advice do you have for some companies that maybe they're nervous to get into Web3, NFTs, crypto? We hear so many negative headlines. What advice do you have for those companies maybe on the fence before they dive in?
Oh yeah, that's my all day, every day. Of the maybe 50 partners that we work with, probably only 20 have activated, and that's okay. I always like to not convince someone, but help them understand the full picture. And a lot of companies are in this place right now where they just want to better understand what's the right move, separate out some of the negativity that they might read from what's actually going to help them better connect with their consumers. And that's perfectly okay. I do also think that it's important for us to help develop strategies with trusted partners that help these brands do something that ultimately grows how they're connecting with consumers, whether that's cultural relevance or deepening their loyalty and rewards capabilities or creating digital first business models. There needs to be something that actually links to a tangible business outcome. And I think starting with that strategy really helps brands figure out the right way to play. I also think the world of Web3 is expansive. You just mentioned NFTs and crypto, and that's absolutely part of it. Blockchain-based applications remain an absolutely tremendous opportunity. And at the same time as we see these polarizing media headlines, we also see some of the biggest financial institutions in the world adopting blockchain technology. Whether that's JP Morgan, Chase, or Visa, they're in this space building from a B2B standpoint, from a financial services standpoint. So I think that it's important to be unbiased in the perspective and also to match business objectives to tech solutions. Sometimes that's going to be blockchain based, but sometimes it's not. We also view that the world of immersive experiences is a tremendous part of Web3, whether that means building a world in Roblox or designing a really cool campaign that leverages AR. And then, of course, advanced computing, you certainly can't ignore. Over the last 6 months, consumer awareness around AI has exploded. Brands need to figure that out too. And our view at Vayner3 is these three, sort of formats of technology are complementary, and they're informing how users are experiencing the next era of the internet. And of course, wherever users go, brands need to be there too.
Since we last spoke at VeeCon 2022, of course, Vayner NFT rebranded to Vayner3. Can you talk a little bit about what went into that rebrand? And do you think we maybe need to move away from the term NFT as we really build out Web3 space?
Yeah, well, within a few months of launching Vayner NFT, I was like, okay, NFTs are huge and massive, but there's a lot more to the next era of the internet than just NFTs. So I remember telling that to Gary just a few months after we started. He was like, Avery, we just launched this. And I'm like, I know, but yes, and to use Gary language, our clients want more. They want to understand which metaverse they should consider. They want to understand, should they take crypto? What will the business impact be? They want to understand how these things work together and instead of in a silo. So we started an inch wide and a mile deep on NFTs, and we really nailed that brief. And I think it gave us the permission to expand into the innovation consultancy that we are now. We will not be changing the name for next VeeCon. Vayner3 or V3 is sticking around, and we continue to build out our capabilities to support what our partners need.
Awesome. Well, once again, Chris from Benzinga, Avery Akkineni, President Vayner3. Avery, thank you very much. Benzinga. I am joined at VeeCon 2023 by Jessie, Pollock, the creator of Base and head of protocols. Jessie, it's great to have you today. I want to talk a little bit about Base, but before we get into that, just wondering if you can share with everyone some of the roles that you've had with Coinbase prior to Base.
Yeah, absolutely. So I joined Coinbase at the beginning of 2017. The company was 70 people at that time. It's obviously grown a lot since then. The first 4.5 years at Coinbase, I led all of our consumer-facing businesses on the engineering side. So Coinbase, Coinbase Pro, Coinbase Wallet, I built those teams from a few people to a couple hundred people. And so that was a really incredible scaling experience on the team side, obviously a really incredible scaling experience on the crypto side and the product side as well. And then since then, kind of middle of 2021, I stepped back from that role and really started to think about how do we bring Coinbase on-chain. This is this business that was started in 2012, before Ethereum existed, before smart contracts existed. And in the last few years, we've started to build new on-chain products like USDC, like CBE, like Coinbase Wallet, but there's still a small percentage of our overall portfolio. And so my job became, okay, let's figure out how we go from 10% to 100% over the next decade. And after a lot of iteration, what came out the other side was Base, which is basically the platform, the developer platform, on top of which we're going to build all those on-chain products.
Awesome. So Jessie, we just heard you say on-chain. Can you describe to anyone out there who's not familiar, what's the differences between on-chain and off-chain?
Yeah, absolutely. So we like to say on-chain is the next online, which basically means that in the early 2000s, we saw this transformation of the world as we went from offline to online, where developers started to be able to build apps that could reach anyone in the world. So Twitter, Facebook, the platform you're watching this streaming video on right now, we'd call that an online application. Now, one of the things that doesn't exist with online applications is they still are pretty limited in what they can do with value and money. So if you wanted to do things online, you still have to go through the banks or the credit cards. And what we've seen over the last 10 years is that new platforms emerged. And people talk about this like blockchains, or they say Web3. We like to say this is on-chain, like online. And the powerful thing about on-chain is, for the first time, value and money is operating on the same global platform as information has been for the last 20 years. And what that means is it means that people can build these new kinds of applications, things like saving and spending and borrowing and trading and lending and earning and supporting creators, and all of those things out of the box work for anyone anywhere. So if you're a creator in the United States, or you're a creator in the Philippines, or you're a creator in Nairobi, or you're a creator in Venezuela, you have access to the same tools because they're operating on this new platform. And that's going to be this incredibly powerful force for A, helping people live better lives, and B, increasing economic freedom, which means that they're going to be able to have better families, better outcomes overall.
So Jessie, you just talked a little bit about supporting creators. Can you just share some of the ways that Base is really helping those creative people in the space and supporting them along the way?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you look at kind of where the industry is today, what you'll see is that we have this kind of incredible suite of new creator tools, things like Manifold, Zora, that are enabling creators to put their content on chain, earn more direct revenue from it, and then build more meaningful relationships with their fans, whether that's by letting NFT holders get early access to tickets or doing live streams that are token gated. Like, this tooling is all there. The big problem with it is it's too expensive. And so I'd say the number one thing that we're focused on is lowering the cost of fees and making it incredibly easy for those creator platforms to come to layer 2 so that creators have incredible tools. And I think if we can do that, we can move into this world where, you know, the set of tools that creators have is basically infinitely growing, and they're able to use them at a really, really low cost, and they're able to reach this global audience that's literally everywhere in the world. So that's the big thing. It's lowering costs and making it easy for those creator platforms to bring their tools to layer 2 and enable creators.
So I want to talk a little bit about Base Builder Quest, which was launched in April. What was that, and why is that so important for the creative people out there?
Yeah, so our whole thesis is we need to bring 1 million developers and creators so that we can get to 1 billion users on chain. And the Builder Quest was kind of the first step in the direction of bringing those 1 million developers on chain. And so what it was is when a developer deploys their first smart contract on Base, they can mint an NFT that kind of commemorates that, the Builder Quest NFT. We collaborated with a really incredible creator, Andre O'Shea. He's been doing digital art to make a beautiful kind of image that connects to that NFT and, you know, is the NFT itself. And we had more than 1 million mints of it, which is pretty crazy, all on testnet, but we'll be bringing it to mainnet at the mainnet launch. That was really the first step. It was the first experiment for us, and we saw an incredible response. You know, millions of mints of people who are deploying their first smart contracts oftentimes, whether it's on Base or anywhere else, and earning this NFT. The next thing that we actually just did, which is connected, is we dropped V2, which is BaseCamp. BaseCamp is a whole curriculum where you can learn how to build full applications in smart contracts. As you go through the lessons, you earn NFTs at each step, which kind of commemorate the progress that you've made and show to the world the learning that you've done. And we're already starting to see people pour into that and build that skill set.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about BaseCamp. You know, we hear a lot about education. Why is it important for some of these creators, right, to get educated and really develop on the platform and take that BaseCamp self-learning experience?
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at the world today, there are more than 30 million developers in the world. There are tens of millions of creators. But in terms of creators on chain and developers on chain, it's still very small. Thousands of creators, tens of thousands of developers. And so our whole thesis is we need to educate folks so that they can make that transition. Because if we can suck in those 30 million developers, we can suck in those tens of millions of creators, they're going to be the ones who create the things that people actually want to use. If we don't have that talent, we're never going to have the utility from the applications and content that people are creating. And so BaseCamp on the developer side is really the first step there, in terms of bringing those people in, giving them the education, giving them the tools so they can start building.
We hear a lot in the space the word onboarding, right?
Yeah.
Onboarding new users and Base with onboarding, you know, these people behind the scenes and really helping. Can you just expand on that, how Base is really helping to onboard millions of users to this new growing field?
Yep, absolutely. For us, it's all about ease of use. It's ease of use for the developers and creators, so we can get those 1 million developers and creators on chain, and then the 1 billion users. I think the thing that we kind of have uniquely with Base is we're coming from Coinbase and we're collaborating really closely with Coinbase, and that allows us to kind of look from the bottom to the top, from the blockchain through to the consumer experience that Coinbase is building for the last 10 years, and be like, okay, between these two things, like, what's broken right now and how do we fix it? And how do we make it so someone can go from never having used crypto to using a product that delivers real value to them in less than 60 seconds? And to be candid, I don't think we're there yet, right? If you look at the broader industry, right now, the process of actually using an app is convoluted. It requires 20 steps. It's slow. It takes minutes or hours. Maybe you have to verify. It takes 24 hours. And so we want to compress all of that into less than 60 seconds. And that's going to enable these next billion users to come on chain.
Awesome. So Jessie, last question here. You know, you talked about BaseCamp. Base has been busy building out this stuff, but down the road, what are some new features, new products that users and developers out there can look forward to from Base that you can share and talk about today?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing that you'll see come most quickly as we approach mainnet is really stuff for creators. It's those tools for creators, and then it's the consumer experiences around music, around art, around NFTs that will actually be able to stand out to the everyday person. When they're walking on the street, they see the QR code there, they scan it, and in less than 60 seconds, they've used crypto to do something that they're really excited about that they tell their friends about. Like, that's what's coming. That's going to be powered by Base.
That's awesome. Once again, Chris from Benzinga here, VeeCon 2023, Jessie, Pollock, head of protocols and the creator at Base. Jessie, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here. Thanks, y'all.